Meanwhile, following protests by the Hindu community across Dhaka and other parts of Bangladesh, Muhammad Yunus has invited a delegation of Hindu students for a meeting. Hindu student organizations have presented 8 demands, including minority protection and 5-day holiday for Durga Puja. They have warned that if their demands are not met, they will launch a non-cooperation movement across the country. Before I play another ground report of my colleague Manish Shah, let me introduce Ambassador Veena Sikri, former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh. Madam, thank you for very patiently waiting. These are the ground reports. We are getting it from Dhaka and other parts of Bangladesh. Madam, I also interviewed before you came Saida Rizwana Hassan, advisor to Muhammad Yunus, a short while ago on the entire situation of the community. She used a word called revolution. She said revolution has happened in Bangladesh. She is free to use that word, but the revolution had a hard edge, which is a sort of Islamism in which the Hindu community bore the brunt. Why did this happen when they were not the main political players?
You see, I think that what is very worrisome about what has happened in Bangladesh is that the issues and the whole country now seems in the control of the Jamaat-e-Islami. It's the Islamists who are in control in the whole country. And I'm saying this because however much you may try to romanticize the situation and talk about students running the police work in Dhaka, and you have students wearing teddy bear suits, and you have young 6-year-old girls on the street with a stick in their hand, those are all very romanticized ideas about running the country. But the hard core is that the very simple students' protest was actually taken over by the Jamaat-e-Islami and with support of forces from outside Bangladesh, certainly, and we know which countries those are. And that force of the Jamaat-e-Islami has taken over the whole country and forced former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to leave the country. Now, even Professor Muhammad Yunus, the head of the interim government, he's repeatedly referring to this as a second liberation, as a second independence. We saw Rizwana, the advisor for the environment, to him talking about revolution. There's talk about Islamic National Revolutionary Government in Bangladesh. And the attacks that we saw from 5th August onwards, they were on all the attacks, whether on the Hindus and other minorities, whether on the statues of Sheikh Mujib, who was the father of the nation, and whether on the secular and liberal intelligentsia of Bangladesh. All these are fully reminiscent of what happened in 1971 when the Pakistan Army launched Operation Searchlight, and with the support of the Razakar, the support of the Jamaat-e-Islami, they attacked these very same targets. So today, when you see that Sheikh Mujib's statue is fallen, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, who composed the national anthem of Bangladesh, his statue is lying on the ground. The head of his statue is beheaded and lying on the ground. So these value systems that that seem to have come into play now are very different from what it was in 1971. The 1972 Constitution of Bangladesh talks about democracy, talks about secularism, talks about nationalism and socialism, the 4 pillars of the Constitution. But today, what is being talked about is a new constitution, revising the constitution. And it's very worrisome the way in which it is being, the use of the term revolution is also very worrisome because, peaceful, fair elections, peaceful change of power is what you want. And today there's no talk of elections. Even the BNP, who was in the beginning very keen
Ambassador
for
Sikri, I know, this is a little more than Bangladesh, but I must put this question, though, I read the edit, Mr. Kaju had been arguing, is it correct that we got the developments in Afghanistan, Maldives and Bangladesh wrong? We've taken in by surprise?
No, I would not quite put it like that, of course, because I think the way in which this particular, I'm talking about Bangladesh right now. I can talk about Afghanistan and Maldives separately, because in Afghanistan, it was not the decision of India to hand over the government back to Taliban too. It was the American decision to hand back to Taliban too. They walked out of Afghanistan. So I don't think you can talk about anything else except the decision that the American government took at a certain point, that they were handing it over back to Taliban for the second time. They were defeated after 20 years in Afghanistan. So I think that's one situation. In Maldives, I will say that yes, the elections were won by President Muizu, and he had in the beginning talked about India out and take away your aeroplane, take away your Air Force officers, all that. But now we have have restored a balance, and our foreign minister, external affairs minister Jaishankar was there very recently, and we heard President Muizu telling our external affairs minister that India is our closest ally. So this balancing, this has to go on all the time. And when you have a different government of the day, you deal with that government and you talk about it.